are joined now by our next guest, Aster CEO, Leonard. Hey, Leonard.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you too. How are you enjoying the event so far? I have to say, Sam told us he was going to get in the bungee later, and so we'll have a video of that up somewhere. Have you walked the floor? What's the vibe been like for you?
Oh, it's very exciting. I previously joined Binance Blockchain Week as not as a sponsor. This is the first time doing it. Feels very different that now you're paying to be here. So yeah, but overall, I think the vibe is very exciting. And tomorrow we have our fireside chat. We have a lot more that we want to share with the audience about our roadmaps, what we want to do. So very excited.
Leonard, you know, Aster has gotten so much buzz over the last couple of months. Before we get into all that you're working on and what you're doing, I just want to know what it feels like as a founder to create something that suddenly everyone's talking about. Mm-hmm. How does that feel to you?
It feels very surreal. So if everyone's saying it just jump off nowhere, and then all this overnight success, how does it feel? We actually worked on this product for 4 years. Yeah. And I think it's the same story for a lot of founders. You just have to keep working on something, have conviction in it, just be long-term focused and iterate. Keep iterating very quickly. Someday you may catch some luck like us, and then it might take off. So to all the founders out there, I would say there's no secret sauce. Just keep doing what you're doing, and then hopefully believe in what you're doing, and just keep doing it. And the rest of it is luck. But for me, for example, this is totally new to me. People don't believe me. I'm more of an introvert, so I'm getting used to all this attention that I'm getting, but whatever it takes to make the project more visible, to get more users, to give us more feedback, I think I'm here for it.
Well, speaking of attention, CZ said on X that he bought 2 million tokens, and that really made the project take off. I think that day he tweeted it was up 20%, but up 400% over some time. I mean, that's a different level of attention, isn't it? Talk to us a little bit about your connection with Binance and having someone like CZ in your corner.
I worked in Binance, so I learned a lot working there, how a successful startup works. I also have some fail experience before, so I learned what I shouldn't do. I learned what I should do when I was in Binance. And CC personally is my advisor, my coach. So I do have regular talks with him, and I think especially in the last 2 months, his advice has been very helpful to me, because he's probably the few people on the planet that have experienced a similar kind of I would say a short-term success, and how to deal with that, all that traffic, all that contention, and how to maximize that for us to build for long term. So she's very valuable. I couldn't think of anyone better to advise us. But one thing I would say though, he didn't buy enough. So.
Well, I think he's here, so you could tell him.
Right. If we see CZ, we're gonna get him over here, and make him commit to
some more Aster tokens. What's a piece of advice that CZ has given you that has really resonated with you?
Well, I think one of the things that he talked to me about before TGE was that we weren't optimistic enough. I'm a relatively conservative person. I'm more risk averse. I used to work in building risk engines, so I'm always thinking about risk. But then I think he constantly tried to push me to say to think bigger. To think when I was talking to him about tokenomics, and he always asked us to dream big. And if we're building something, as well build from ground up, thinking how we can reconstruct everything, right? Stop thinking about risk, think about the potential. I think that's very important, because I think most successful founder, they are conservatively optimistic. I have the conservative part, but I need more of the optimism, I would say.
Leonard, you guys have a decentralized exchange. Aster has a very popular Perp DEX. Tell us, the rise of Perp DEXs seem to be something that a lot of people are talking about. So what do you think is it about the psychology that makes people really want to sort of play the game of these perpetual exchanges?
So I've been in this game for long enough that I remember way back 4 years ago, it was first DYDX that kind of started everything. We actually started thinking about that as well. And it was our belief that eventually DEX will be the dominant infrastructure for all things trading. So that's why we started it. But back then, the infrastructure wasn't good enough to support it. Like I remember, like doing a trade on the DEX takes like 5 seconds to confirm, which is like you will immediately go back to CEX after that, right?
Yeah.
But then comes GMX, so there's like a new concept of how you can provide liquidity like on-chain perp DEX, and comes Hyperliquid, right? Like it's just open up everybody's minds how you can provide a decentralized solution with centralized experience. So I would say the infrastructure, the experience has improved so much that now that it becomes easier for people to actually test it out and stay on all these perp DEX. And I think we are also witnessing a lot of failures in centralized exchanges, and that like kind of create this trust issue that push people more to decentralized infrastructure. So I think that's like how it brought us to today, where I believe probably in like 6 to 12 months, like maybe even more like earlier, than the trading activity, the liquidity on decentralized infrastructure might surpass centralized exchanges.
Talk to us a little bit more about that. What does that look like? You know, what do the flows of users from centralized exchanges to decentralized exchanges look like, and what are some of the catalysts you expect to see?
Well, I think first, I'm being optimistic there, but then, but I think for a new user right now, for a new user that's entering the crypto space, decentralized experience and centralized experience are very comparable. Like it's like besides the onboarding process and the on-off ramp process, the actual core trading experience is pretty homogeneous at this point. So it really boils down to what user preferences are. Do they want self-custody, or is certain asset that they decide to trade accessible on decentralized infrastructure, on centralized infrastructure? So it's really, I would say, for a new user, like a 50-50 game now. But for user to migrate from one platform to another platform, as we always say, like you need to have a 10 times better product, because it's very traumatized to migrate. Like when they're like people hate changes, right?
I know that.
So that's why I think that part is still probably the hardest part for a decentralized exchange to push for. Like, how do we create a product that is like 5 times, 10 times better than the current CEX experience? And once we have done that, probably like that will trigger an avalanche of migration from the traditional centralized exchange. And I also think, like, I'm more practical. I don't think the centralized exchange as we know it would just cease to exist. It's more likely once that trend gets started, in my opinion, like the centralized exchange will become more decentralized. So we're actually seeing that already. Like in like for Binance, for like you start seeing some of the decentralized service available in their centralized app, centralized infrastructure. So, but that also means that more of the trading activity and liquidity will be pushed to decentralized infrastructure. So I think like the future will be somewhere in the middle. Like the centralized exchange as we know it will become more decentralized, and more users will eventually migrate to decentralized infrastructure.
All right, Leonard, I have to ask you, I've been hearing about Rocket Launch, and I want to understand, just in the time we have left, what is Rocket Launch? How are people utilizing it? Where's the alpha coming from? Tell us how people should be thinking about this with Aster.
So Rocket Launch is something that we want to create to help early stage project with a great team, great product. With liquidity, because that's what we're good at, right? After we launch our own token on our own platform, we realized that a lot of projects probably need that kind of liquidity boost at the early stage. So we want to create this win-win-win situation where a good project can get liquidity, we get to lease all this great product, great asset at early stage, and our user gets rewarded, like trading and like trying out this new product. So that's why we call it Rocket Launch. The first Rocket Launch project, April, like 90% of their initial liquidity was on Aster, and it's now listed on Binance. So hopefully we can find the next few projects that will follow similar pathway and give our users like early access to all these great assets.
And I know people can apply to participate via your X. You shared a forum on X recently for that next project, right?
Yes.
All right, so people can go over to Leonard's X and find that. Leonard, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your time.